So if this, as we've talked about, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call our divisor. And this is called our dividend, right? Now, if that divisor evenly divides into it, right, then we could say that is a factor, right, of our polynomial. Would you guys agree with me? Polynomial. If it evenly divides into it, we call it a factor, correct? Now, for long division, we use the factors and the polynomial. For synthetic division, we're not going to use the factor any longer. We're now going to use the zeros. So if we know what the factor is, can we find out what the zero is? Yes, if you guys remember what I showed at the beginning of class, all we need to do to go from a factor to 0 is set your factor equal to 0. So to find the 0, you just take your factor and you set it equal to 0. This is pretty easy, right? And that's why, if you guys want to ask, well, why can't we do synthetic division for that problem over there? Because how many zeros does, how many zeros does this have? 3, right? When we're using it, we can only use one factor. So that's why when your divisor is raised to a higher power, you can't use synthetic division. So that is our factor. Now, synthetic division, what you're going to do is kind of do a half of a box. OK? And what you're going to do is you're going to place your 0 on the outside, which is -3. Then all you're going to do is take in your coefficients of your polynomial. Now, make sure this is really important. In long division, remember if you didn't have an x squared, what did I tell you to put in there? If you didn't have an x squared, I told you to put like a 0x squared, right? Yes? You have to do that for synthetic division. You don't have to do it for long division. I prefer you do it. But for this, you have to go from 3, 2, 1, 0 every single time. So if you don't have one of those values, you have to include them. OK? We'll do an example like that next. So what are the coefficients? In standard form, it's 3, 17, 21, -9. And oh, yeah, and that was it. Does everybody agree with me? OK, so here's the process. It makes life so much easier when you don't have to do long division. But again, sometimes you have to do long division. So all you simply do is you get the freebie. First one's free on me. 3. OK, first one is a freebie. Everybody should be able to get the freebie. Now, what we do is we multiply diagonal, add vertical. So if you want to write that down, multiply diagonal, add vertical. So diagonal is like this. So 3 times -3 is -9. Then we add vertical. 17 plus -9 is 8. Then we multiply diagonal. 8 times -3 is -24. Then we add vertical. 21 minus 24 is? Then we multiply diagonal. -3 times -3 is? -3 times -3 is? +9. -9 plus -9, or -9 plus +9 is 0. So now, how do we write what the quotient is? Because, right, do you guys remember the quotient was 3x squared plus 8x? So what these represent, this is not the quotient. These represent the coefficients of your quotient. So the first one is your remainder. The second one is your constant, which is to the x to the 0. Then you just keep on going your way up. X to the 0, x to the first, x squared. Do you guys see what the next one would be? Yes? So therefore, my quotient, or my answer, is 3x squared plus 8x minus 3. Because do you guys agree with me? I don't really need to write x to the first power, nor do I really need to write x to the 0. Oh, absolutely.